Dolores Huerta, Growing Up Strong, is a biography. A biography tells us about a real person's life. The author has a point of view when he writes this story. We've talked a lot about point of view, and point of view is when the author tells us what he thinks about a topic. So as we're reading, the author is giving us details that help us understand what he thinks about this person. So we're going to go deeper into the story and pull some of those details out that help us understand about the author's point of view. So let's go to the next page. So in the story, we're going to reread some of the story and we're going to pull out details. We're going to highlight details about Dolores Huerta's life and what the author tells us about her life. Those things that the author tells us about her life are going to help us understand what the author thinks about her. So let's go back to this section. I'm going to read this section and I want you to think about what the author tells us about Dolores Huerta. Dolores Huerta learned to help people by watching her mother. Good citizenship was important to her, and she taught Dolores that women can be strong leaders. When Dolores grew up, she had the same beliefs. So the author here is telling us about Dolores and her beliefs and how they came from her mother. So we're going to highlight that information. Then we're going to put that as a detail into our graphic organizer. So Dolores' mother taught her to be a good citizen and a strong leader. Okay, that is part of what the author tells us, a detail that the author tells us about her life. So we can pull from this detail that the author thinks Dolores is a good citizen and a strong leader. Moving on to our next section, I'm going to read this section, and as I read, I want you to think about things the author tells us about Dolores and how that helps us understand what the author's point of view is. She tried to get free lunches and milk for the children. She tried to get them new clothes and shoes. So she's trying to do things for those children, special things for them. Trying to help the children was a daring thing for Dolores to do. So the author is saying that this is something that was hard for her to do. It was a daring thing for her to do. The other teachers did not agree with her ideas. Dolores risked a lot, but her beliefs did not waver. She decided to do something about the unfairness she saw. She wanted to find a better way to help farm workers and their families. So she's trying to help people. So in a detail about her life that the author wrote, trying to help the children was a daring thing for Dolores to do. This is showing that the author thinks that what Dolores was doing for her children was something that was hard, something that she had to be brave about. So we're going to put that detail into our graphic organizer because it helps us to understand that the author felt that what she was doing was daring. So another thing that we can put into our author's point of view, besides that he thought she was a good citizen and a strong leader, is that he thought she was being brave. She was helping those students, and that was a daring thing to do. So by the author saying that, we can see that his point of view about her is that she is brave, she is daring. So moving on, you're going to read the next section, the section in the Your Turn. And as you're reading, I want you to think about what is the author saying about Dolores' life. Just like we put into the graphic organizer that he said she was a good citizen and a strong leader, and that she did daring things for her students, I want you to pull out a few more details from the next section. Use the type tool to type it into your graphic organizer. And then finally, in the end, we're going to use these details to type into the next section over here about what we think the point of view of the author is. We already know, so we can say the author's point of view is he thinks Dolores is a good citizen, a strong leader, and brave. Those are things we already pulled out that tell us the author's point of view. Then you're going to add a few more things to that answer from the details you pull from this section. So go ahead and go to the Wonders and go to the author's point of view for Unit 5, Week 4, and do the Your Turn page. Don't forget to turn it in when you're finished.